Jolinda Stevens here with Representative Laurie Jinkins. She is a representative of the 27th Legislative District in Tacoma. She is my representative. She's been sponsoring capital gains bills since 2012 and has said that she will dedicate her legislative career to enacting a progressive tax system. Do you think that the crisis that the McClary decision brings will help chances for the passage of the capital gains tax?
I sure hope so, because it actually is quite a crisis for our state, not just because the Supreme Court has said we have to invest a few $1 billion, that's with a B, more than what we have in our K-12 education system. It's really a crisis because we're not doing for our kids what we need to be doing and providing them the fundamentals in education that we need to be providing. So I think that as we move forward on funding the Supreme Court decision and enacting our moral obligation to our children, hopefully people will start to see that we need revenue in order to do that.
Thank you. And what could Unitarian Universalist Voices for Justice with folks all over the state do to help make this a reality?
Well, I think especially, for example, the capital gains tax bill that I'm prime sponsoring, I think it's really important because most Washingtonians don't know anything about what a capital gains tax is. So, basically somebody gets a capital gain when they sell stocks or bonds or sell a lot of property. So that's you would tax income that's made on your sale of those stocks and bonds and essentially the profits that you make on the sales of that. Now, my bill has really high exemptions, so it would really end up being only people who are probably in about the top 5% of income earners in Washington state who would pay our capital gains tax. But because of that, there are actually very few people in Washington who pay it under the federal tax system right now. So most people don't really know what it is. And I think one of the things you could do to really help is to talk more about what a capital gains tax is so that people start understanding it, understanding that it's very focused on high income earners and really trying to transition a little bit from relying so heavily on the poorest in our population to earn taxes for the state, and shifting it more toward equity, toward having the wealthy pay as much as poor people do.
So having forums in our congregations,
Yes.
which we're really good at,
Yeah.
would be one
Yeah.
step. Are there um, any particular things we should or people we should focus on within the House or Senate?
Oh, I think you should talk to all members, frankly, Republican and Democrat, in the Senate and in the House. I think even though I've been kind of living the capital gains tax for a few years now, and there are a lot of constituents who are really excited about it, for the most part, people still need education about what it is, what kind of impact it could have, and then really talking about the importance of what you think needs to be funded by state government. And I think it's not just our K-12 education system, but it's higher education. I'm chair of the Judiciary Committee, and mental health is a huge issue in our state. We have a broken mental health system, and that we need to really pump more funding into if it's going to work for our family members and friends and neighbors.
So what do you think the chances are that some of the huge cuts in social safety net can be restored this session?
Well, you know, I think that some of that's going to be pretty hard. But I think here's our first challenge that we need to get over. If we don't adopt more new revenue, either with a capital gains tax, by closing loopholes, by some revisions to our business and occupations tax structure, if we don't adopt any new revenue, we're not only going to not restore our health and human services budget, we're going to take more cuts to it. So we need to add more revenue, not to eat, really just to keep us even, frankly. Now we might be able to grow some. I think there's a very strong commitment on the mental health side that the reductions we did during the Great Recession are having huge negative impacts on our communities and, frankly, on our budget in very unintended ways. So I think there are areas where we have a chance where we can reinvest more, and maybe small areas of growth. But all of this depends on whether or not we continue to reform our revenue structure in Washington State, so that we're really bringing the revenue into state government that the voters in this state have decided they want to match the services that we want to provide.
Thank you so much. In 30 seconds,
Yes.
we a progressive income tax has been a goal of UU Voices since our inception 9 years ago. Uh, Are there ways that we can work with you outside of legislature time to and with others to make this a reality? What do you think needs to be done?
I think that we need to kind of take measured, successful steps toward building a more progressive taxation system, whether it ends up in an income tax or not. But we have a history right now in Washington State of not being really very good at figuring out how to change our tax structure at all. So I think what we should do is try and take small steps, make sure we can really put them into law and do it, and then take a bigger step and a bigger step. I like to work out and do things like that. And I think a lot of this is about strengthening our muscles around this and strengthening our thinking. Are we going to be able to get a graduated income tax system someday? I don't know if that we'll get there, but as long as we continue on the path of having a more progressive tax structure, that creates us a pathway there.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to our
Yeah,
budget conference.
yeah. Thank you. Thanks. And thanks for the work you do.
Thank you.